Now I better understand why people don't want to critically think for themselves, don't want to question what they hear, and so forth. Now I understand. This is one of the main reasons. Is that's because of the fact that most people, particularly most adults, lack a sense of curiosity, which is pretty sad. And that's because of the fact that when you're a kid, you're born with a natural sense of curiosity, but it gets sucked out of you mainly by the so-called education system that tells you to accept things and don't question it. That you can't question it, and if you try to question it, you still, for example, you question why this problem is this, and or you're wondering, wait a minute, I don't agree with this because of so and so. You still have to do it anyway. And it doesn't help that certain people got parents out there that tell them to do things just because I said so. No holistic reasons, no logic behind it. Just do it because I want you to do it because it makes me feel good. That's okay. They won't say that in your face, but that's how it is. And when you go older, I notice that people, when they reach adulthood, they have no curiosity at all. They don't want to look deeper into things. They just want to be casual about everything in their lives. It shocks me. There's so many things to learn, yet they just want to be casual about it. Their attitude, their attitude is, oh, well, I'm too busy. But that's really not an excuse, because you always can find time to actually look into things in depth. Even before, sorry about that. Even before I started waking up to what was going on, I I was like these living dead out here who are ignorant of everything. I still had a natural enough curiosity to actually want to know things that I was interested in. I didn't have this casual interest and didn't want to look further than what I'm seeing. No, I want to look into the depths of the who's, the what's, the whens, the where's, the whys, all that stuff. I wanted to look into all. I wanted to know. And that's what actually led me to where I am now. It led me to this fact that I just woke up to what was going on and how messed up things are in the world. And the fact that we're living on a prison planet and so forth. These are things that some of these things I've initially denied at first because of the fact that I didn't really see, I didn't know, didn't connect dots, and I didn't see how bad how humanity has gotten. I didn't realize how much of an epidemic we have when it comes to secondary psychopathy. Secondary psychopathy, as in people who become psychopaths tend to have psychopathic tendencies due to the environment they were raised in and how they were raised growing up. Not people who are inherent psychopaths at birth, but people who, like I said, they get these traits from how they're raised and the environment they raised in. Because we live in a pretty much mostly negative environment that breeds these type of people. But anyways, I started connecting dots. I'm thinking if psychopaths rule the world, then imagine some of the things they have been doing behind the scenes, behind our backs. Which led me to what I'm doing now. And that's just something I noticed with people. That I noticed that the reason why people are so ignorant and are so clueless to what was going on because they just lack curiosity. They don't really have no desire to actually pursue knowledge because they don't want to ask. They don't want to ask questions. You can yes, there's truth to the fact that there is a fear-based component to it, but in some cases, people just don't care to look. How can you look into something and not see that there's something in depth to it? Are people? It just amazes me. How can you not have a sense of curiosity? I've had this sense of curiosity since I was a child, and I never lost it. My curiosity has grown as I got older, actually. So, I guess that shows that that the so-called education system hasn't worked me over the same way it worked everyone else over. Because I talked about how those are centers of actually sucking up creativity, shutting down that intuitive or right side of the mind. That's the reason why it hasn't done that to me. Because I didn't buy into a lot of the stuff they teach you in school as it is. Because I knew some of it was bullshit. Because I always talk about how when I turned 18, that I really started learning about the world. I learned about and everything in between. That's when I really started learning. Because when I turned 18, I realized, man, what was the difference between what I know now and what I know when I was 10 years old? It tells you how indoctrination is there to just make you become a good slave. They want to, they will quote unquote educate you in a certain area so you can work in this part of the control system, keeping the cog greased up, that type of thing. They might educate you in that area, but that's it. That's why a lot of people, when they go out to get their so-called education, their overpriced degree, that's not going to get them nowhere, income-wise, and they try to talk about how it is for most, because most people are not doing something in demand. Whatever. If for those out there who want to be a part of the economic matrix or slave system, you know. But like I said, a lot of these people out there, they go and get their degrees not because they want to learn about something. No, they do it because they want to make money. So I'm thinking, where is your sense of curiosity? I mean, why you don't want to learn things? You'll be quite shocked to how knowledge not only enriches your life, let me rephrase that. Not only enriches the mind, but it also will enrich your life. It will make your life better. It makes it easier. But unfortunately, there is a downside. But you know what? I don't really think this is much of a downside in the long run because I always say that a lot of people tell you that ignorance is bliss. I disagree. I come to realize that I rather know than be ignorant, because ignorance for not knowing for a limited amount of time may actually be bliss, but in the long run you're gonna pay dearly, because that bliss is only gonna last until the curtains are revealed, until you have to wake up in the morning and the curtains are shining on you. You're thinking, oh no, the sun. It's morning time. Anyways, hold on. I lost track of what I was about to say. It was something that had to do with ignorance and how you could for so long ignore what you don't want to know. Then I think I was going to say something about how this is a bad thing because it's going to come back to haunt you. So I lost track of what I was going to say when it comes to ignorance. But what I'm trying to say is we need to help reinstill curiosity into people. That's what we need to do. We need to encourage people to start looking into things deeply. If we do that, hopefully they'll become more hungry for knowledge. They want to know more and more and more. But I think some people are just hard-coded to not be like this, to not have a sense of curiosity for whatever reason it may be. I'm not going to try to make guesses. But that's one of the main reasons why people can't critically think, because those who have no curiosity are not going to really care about that too much. It's just sad. But regardless, people still need to look into things whether they want to or not. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to say before I had to pause the audio and try to sit for a minute and think what I was going to say. Okay. That downside, which I don't really think is much of a downside in retrospect, is that you're going to isolate a lot of people with your newfound knowledge, because the more you learn, unfortunately, a lot of people are going to start thinking you're insane. Because of the fact that people's standards are so low, people are so dumbed down, that when you try to enlighten people about the things you have learned, they're going to look at you funny, or they're going to think, oh, he's that guy, That's one of the main reasons why I think society has looked down on people who are quote-unquote geeks or nerds or whatever. It's because the fact there's this intellectual undercurrent in society, I notice. And you see it in pop culture. Like stupidity. It's like you see this attitude of being casual and being dumbed down as in basic as this virtue, which is sick. That's why, in retrospect, I don't see it as a downside. Because unfortunately, the more you learn about the world, the more shocked you will become, and the more isolated you're going to become from people. And I'm talking about learning more about things that actually go outside of what society has told you, by the way. Things that the institutions and the powers that shouldn't be don't want to tell people or teach people. I'm talking about especially that. And it's just an unfortunate fact when it comes to learning about these things. So prepare to lose a few friends, prepare to actually even lose a few relationships. Because that's just how it is, unfortunately. Because you live in such a messed up world where there's so many people who are still asleep. We got about 6+ billion people We got about 7 billion people, 7 billion people who are still asleep, who don't care, and just want and or unfortunately don't like this. So it's going to be a tough, long road, but you know what? It's worth it because in the long run, you're doing what you have to do. And people, everybody needs to be like this. Everybody needs to have that attitude. I want to learn more.